Do your thing, Facebook. All right, I got a few people I have to tag here before we get super up and rolling with today's live event that I was supposed to do like 49 hours ago. Becca, let's get you in here. You little lady hanging out in Costa Rica. Stacy, my dream oracle. Oh, I had a dream about a tsunami last night. That means I have some emotional stuff I'm not dealing with. Or it could be talking about the tsunami that's going to happen later this year. Whoops. Um, okay, got those people tagged. Hi, everyone. Why is it so hard right now? Is it hard for you? Are you having a hard time? Let me know in the comments if you're joining me live. Say hi. And let me know if you're watching this after the fact. Get a little hashtag replay going. And let's talk for a moment about what I mean when I say it's really hard. I'll say what it means for me personally, and I'll say what my clients are coming at me with. So for me, it's been really hard in terms of energy, right? I feel heavy. I feel like I'm exhausted all the time. I feel like I can't focus more so than the usual ADHD thing of just like going all over the place. It's more like I look at something that I would otherwise enjoy doing and I'm just like, that sounds like the worst thing in the world. Like I bake my own sourdough bread. It's something I really love to do. I love the process of kneading the bread. It's an elongated process. It takes like 2 days and it's a really healthy thing for me. I've been staring at my starter in the fridge like all week. Finally today I got around to it, but all week I was just like, why would I do this to myself? Why would I waste my time? It's all dirty. My hands get dirty. I have to wash so many dishes. And all of a sudden, it's like this thing that I used to love so much is now the worst thing because I'm just being a little brat about the fact that we're human beings living during the apocalypse. So that's the first reason it's so hard right now. Like we're living through the literal apocalypse. That's one word we could use to describe it. And apocalypse doesn't mean the end. Apocalypse actually means transformation. We're transforming. Do you remember what it was like to be born? No. Have you given birth? Do you remember what that was like? It was hard. It was super hard. And if you remembered what it was like as a baby, which some of you may have that psychic connection to your baby self, then you'll understand like we're just constantly going through that throughout our lives, this rebirth process. As a culture, as a collective culture, we're going through this huge transformation together. We're doing it together. Some of us are on board and like, yeah, it's happening. And some of us are like, resistance, do not want. This morning, I made it to a 6:15 a.m. yoga class, something I haven't done for many months, but it was like, do what you need to do, Morgan. Do what you need to do. I woke up at 5 a.m. Spike woke me up at 5 a.m. because he's been sick all week, right? Spike has been having bloody diarrhea all week long, like uncontrollable all over the place. He's been throwing up. He was like just hanging out in my lap and he just like threw up all over me like an unburped baby. Like these are part of the reasons this week has been so hard for me. My puppy's sick. Oh, poor Spike. He's going to be okay. He's feeling the energies too. And I was like, all right, I'm going to yoga. I got to do something to turn this day around or I'm going to spend this whole day just feeling awful. And I did my yoga and it felt good. I was grateful for it. And then I left and I saw all the unhoused people of Venice, California waking up and just kind of moving through their day and they just all looked like zombies. And it looked like I was in like a movie with zombies. And I wasn't scared. It wasn't like a fearful thing for me. I had a lot of compassion for it. And because I had done my yoga, rather than just like letting that energy bring me down of how hard it is for those people, I said to each person as I was driving past them, I love you, I love you, I love you. And so that's the first step that I would ask you to take as we're moving through this apocalypse, is every person you pass, offer your love. You don't have to love them like marry them. You don't have to love them like you're going to do them a favor. You don't have to love them like, they're going to love you back. You just say, I love you because I see that you are love and I am also love. And so I love you, right? Even though we're so different. And that softened the experience for me on my drive back where the world was like, here's the worst of it. Here's as bad as it can get. And I was like, well, there's still love. Hooray. Okay, so the second reason that it's so hard this week in particular, we're coming out of the Mercury retrograde period, right? But do you guys remember the Lionsgate portal from last year? I think it was August is the Lionsgate portal. We got another one coming up at the end of the summer. I spoke with a lot of my psychic friends about it, and we all kind of felt like something had slipped through. I don't like to use the word evil because I'm Buddhist. We don't really believe in evil, but something that was like a really harsh energy slip through. And wouldn't you know it, here comes the war. Here comes the next round of the pandemic with the new monkeypox thing. Here comes the recession. Money is no longer as valuable as it was, right? And all of this is happening for our greater good. Can you believe it? It's all happening for the greater good because it's going to make us so uncomfortable that we have no choice but to choose love, right? If you do your work, if you do your self-care work, whatever that looks like for you, it's probably going to involve some form of movement in your body. Gotta shake all that energy out. I like yoga. I like riding my bike. I like going for walks. It's probably going to involve some form of seated meditation, whether it's, some guided hypnosis or whether it's your own internal process. It's probably going to involve some journaling, whether that's writing a gratitude list or writing your morning pages. It's probably going to involve feeding yourself really healthy food. Vegan food. Vegan food. Vegan food makes it easier. It's true, because you're not in taking the torture and the suffering of the other animals. Hooray. And it's probably going to involve some form of using your voice, whether it's chanting or singing, in a way that vibrates your throat chakra so that you can clearly communicate love. But the reason this is so hard for us right now is to force us to make the choice of love, of joy, of bliss, of samadhi, and to make those choices that get us there step by step, incrementally, right? I took a yoga teacher training this weekend at Light on Lotus Yoga here in Venice. They're opening one up in San Francisco. The OG is in New York. Some of you may have heard of it. It's an incredible studio, an incredible community of like really deep esoteric yoga. And the training was all around the Hindu mythologies behind the yoga poses. So I was learning as my own way of not culturally appropriating yoga, learning more of the original stories that inspired some of these asanas, these poses. And one of the biggest takeaways I had from the weekend is that the stories have evolved over time, right? Over the millennia that the Bhagavad Gita has been written and rewritten, shared through the oral history, the details of the story shift, and even the different versions of the Bhagavad Gita, just like the different versions of the Bible. There are little things that are different about each story, right? But we have that choice too. We can tell ourselves the story of our lives. And I can choose to tell myself the story of this fucking sucks. And I can choose to tell myself the story of this is hard and it's never going to get easier. And I can choose to tell myself the story of this is hard and there's got to be a way to make it easier, right? So our suffering is always a resistance to what is. One of my best friends in the whole world, Devin, she has been a huge source of support for me during this week, checking in with me first thing every morning. And she had something in her Facebook group, the Bold Entrepreneur Facebook group, about how we need this loyalty to ourselves, right? We need to choose ourselves first, not in a selfish way, although I don't think there is any non-selfish act that you can do in this world. Everything is to serve your highest healing. But in terms of how are you going to be loyal to your highest self? How are you going to be loyal to the being, to the spirit, to the energy that wants you to be having a great time here on Earth, even though it's the apocalypse, even while the world burns? I do recommend you go join her group. Let's see. Oh, I got some comments here. Let me catch up on these comments before. Yeah, Sarah said, and now Saturn retrograde. Sarah, tell us more about that. You're so much more educated in the astrological stuff. Yeah. So I like how there are these memes that are like, Mercury's gone direct, so, it's your own problem now. No, there is always a planet that you can blame for your problems. The trick, if you're astrologically inclined, is to learn how to read those shifts and notice what's in retrograde to understand how to use the energy that's available to us at this time. This is why you hire someone like Sarah. You can check out last week's video where we talked about the work that she does with Moonology and the services that she offers. Aligned Charmaine agrees. Movement moves energy 100%. Yeah, movement is so healing. Terry is sending Spike love. Thank you. Yeah, we need it. We need all the love that we can get. I always feel so bad when Spike takes on the bulk of processing the energy in the world. This happens fairly regularly. It's normal for puppies. But it's so hard because, like, he gets it. He's a spiritual being. He understands, but it's still tough for him. So, getting back to resistance is the source, the root of all suffering. So the way to move through things that we're resisting, and we can even resist the good stuff too, right? We can resist joy. We can resist happiness. We can resist a good time for sure. I, as an introvert, have resisted many a good time. But if we allow ourselves to be where we are, we don't have to love it. We don't have to love how hard it is right now. But if we just let it be okay, that this is how it is right now, it changes immediately. Immediately. But you have to really get into that, relax. You have to get your nervous system regulated, which is where the movement is so important, right? Especially twists. I've taught so many yoga classes. I've taught like 7 yoga classes this week so far. And they've all been twists. They've all been twist-focused classes because the nervous system relaxes when you wring it out. So if once you get your nervous system to the place where you can actually have a conversation with your body, with yourself, with your consciousness, then you go into that place of like relaxing into how hard it is. Relaxing into the difficulty, relaxing into the scarcity mindset, relaxing into feeling really disconnected, relaxing into that yearning for things that we don't have, and just allowing space for that creates even more space for us to invite in what we do want, to invite in the abundance that is our birthright, right? To invite in the connections and the soul family, the Sangha, the healing community. That is our birthright. To invite in the joy, the bliss, the samadhi, this kind of playful curiosity of like, oh, look at that. Oh, I wonder what's going to happen next. Just being able to have compassion for how hard it is for everyone. No one's getting it easy. No one's winning here. Maybe the gas companies are winning, but no one else is winning here. No, there's stuff, trust me, their karma is, they're having a rough time. So all that to say, it's not just you, okay? It's not just me. It's not just Spike. We're all collectively experiencing this. And you as a spiritual warrior, you as a spiritual entrepreneur have a choice that you can make. Not everyone has that choice, but you have a choice that you can make to relax into the element of suffering in order to make space for your joy, for your bliss. Okay? Does that make sense? Leave a comment. Let me know how you're feeling. Bad, probably. Be honest. Give me one word for how you're feeling right now. And then one word for how you want to be feeling. And see if it can be okay that you're feeling one way, even though you want to feel another way. And even feel that desire of wanting to feel a different way is its own cycle of suffering, right? But just acknowledge that to yourself. There's something that's discordant, and it's probably going to require you to make a big choice in your life that's going to create more discomfort in the short term to create more joy in the long term. And that looks different for everyone. Usually it means having to give something up in order to bring something in. It could mean having to give up old stories that you told yourself. Like I've been going through the stories of the traumas that I've been through in my life and just like defeating myself about how I can't seem to escape this pattern. When really, when I look at it objectively, as I share it with the people in my life, with my friends, and they're like, I can see where you're making that connection, but that's not really what's happening right now. And so once I have that outside perspective and I can allow myself like, oh, I'm just telling myself that story, that I'm repeating this pattern. But really what's happening is I'm giving myself the opportunity to break free from this pattern. If I give myself the choice to do something that feels uncomfortable, that scares me. And I've been playing with making those different choices, right? Whether it's talking to someone about something that feels emotionally vulnerable, that otherwise I would just bury down and just pretend like it isn't happening. Whether it's making choices in my business, like putting together this retreat in Italy that I'm making that feels really big and really like impossible, that I could get like 5 people to join me on this retreat, and just allowing space for it to feel impossible while saying, well, I'm going to make the choice to continue on and do it anyway and just see what happens. Where in the past, I would just kind of like give up halfway through, like, no, 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 this isn't going to work. So you can tell yourself the story of whatever you want your life to be. You have to give yourself space and time, of course, to let the story change. But the emotional story, you just have to observe that. And that's where the mindfulness practices like yoga, like meditation, like journaling, like connecting with each other, talking to each other, sharing the details of our story as it currently is, that helps create that freedom so that you can tell yourself the story of your life as you want it to be, until eventually you don't have to tell yourself any stories at all. You just get to be. Oh, what a relief that is. All right, my dears, I'm here if you need me. I am offering free discovery calls right now. You can check the link in the comments, or I'll put it here, or in the description rather, and I'll put it here in the comments as well. Normally I charge for these. I'm signing clients right now, so I'm offering them complimentary. Even if we've spoken before, schedule yourself another one. Let's connect. It helps me to have these calls because I understand, I then have a greater understanding of where the collective is at and what support I can provide. But it also just gets me out of my own story so I can be like, man, it really isn't just me, is it? All right, let me check in with these comments. Becca is feeling down and out of control, ready to feel acceptance and surrender. Yes. Yeah, surrender is a tough one. You've got to practice. You've got to practice a lot of shavasana, a lot of yin practices, just to let your body feel like what it feels like to unclench and release. Makes a huge difference. Okay, the comments kind of come and go. This live video sequence that Facebook has going makes it really difficult to keep up with the comments, which I do not appreciate. Facebook, are you listening? Let me see all the comments at once. Like, why won't you let me see them on this screen? Okay, here we go. Okay, so Sarah is saying Saturn rules the patriarchy, government, structures, etc. So this is a review period. Yeah, resisting joy is typically a trauma response. Absolutely. Yeah, you don't feel safe to feel joy because maybe you've never felt it before. What else have we got here? Hi, Wanda. Thank you for joining. You're driving to work right now. Lovely to see you. Thanks for being here. Okay. I think I'm all caught up there. So I'm teaching a lot on Insight Timer next week. I'll put the link for that in the comments here. I'm going to be doing one event that may be particularly interesting for y'all, which is my meditation for spiritual entrepreneurs. We work on manifesting abundance together in your business. You can check that out if you check out my profile. And yeah, schedule yourself a discovery call. I'd love to have a conversation with you and find out how I can support you and how we can work together. I'm here if you have any questions. Hang in there, my dears. Mwah.